Your attention, please.
Hello and welcome back inside the Park for May for podcast number 968. This is Todd.
No, Todd, not
a.k.a. Negative Camber. You know what we do on race weekends.
We watch one, then we talk about it. Then we watch one, then we talk about it. Come on.
Seems
Todd.
logical to me. Why wouldn't we do that? You know, and it was the last race of the season, so we're going to talk about that. Before doing that, you know what I got to do. I got to go find a professional race car driver, the sporting manager of the Heart of Racing Aston Martin Racing Team here in IMSA.
Wrecked from out of the wasteland. He's bad, he's beautiful, he's crazy. It's...
Hello, everybody. This is Paul Charles, the International.
It's the International.
Good afternoon.
Oh, Paul, I didn't think we'd be starting this podcast so soon and suggesting that in reality... we got to talk about the helmet, and I guess this is all we got to say.
Goodbye, good luck, and good riddance.
There you go. So who knew?
ya.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah.
I guess there was rumblings.
I don't
Yeah.
think we should talk about the race. I have prepared an hour and 20-minute full life history of Helmut Marko for us to dig deep.
Oh, my.
No, I haven't done that. I haven't done
Yeah,
that.
everyone's already switched off.
I know. Everybody's like, oh, wait a minute. Stop the podcast. Hey, our Patreon supporters out there, you know who you are. We couldn't do this podcast without you, so thank you so much. And for, you folks get the video and the audio, no commercials, on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon supporter, you didn't know that, go over, log back in, hit forgot password, get a new password, then make a new password, log in, and then you can watch the videos of Paul and I talking and Grace and the podcast itself, no commercials, just for Patreon supporters.
That is worth a lot of money.
A ton.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Yes, and for those of you who aren't patron supporters, what better time? Give it as a gift to your loved ones. It's the holiday
Ooh,
season.
yeah, hanging under the tree.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
we have any Park for May little
I don't have an ornament.
Christmas ornament?
Maybe I should quickly make an ornament. That would be good. Could put like
Yeah, I
Park
think
for
you
May
should.
logo on one side and then like a picture of Lando on the other or something like that.
Yeah.
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 Why not? You know what Lando would say.
Or maybe just Lando's girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what he would say.
Yeah, I said maybe just Lando's girlfriend, who's a model, by the way. Just wanted to point that out.
No kidding.
Yeah.
As is all of them, mostly. I was looking at Ocon's garage, and there's this incredibly beautiful woman. And I was like, oh, it's like his significant other and everything. Oh, well, she's a very pretty girl. And Flavi Bravo or something like that. I was like, I don't even know who she is. So I went and looked it up. It's like, an Insta influencer or whatever. You do you? That's cool.
Yeah, not many plumbers.
No, there's not.
Garages.
Not many
No,
chartered accountants
shame.
either, you know. That's my girlfriend. She's she works at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can't stay the whole race. She's got to shift.
She's got a shift. She's second shift manager. So that's
Yeah, the
it.
chalupas are on sale.
That's right, the chalupa. Bring back the chalupa. Yeah, I agree. So, hey, this weekend was the last race of the season. It was at a track that is known historically for producing incredibly exciting. No, it's not. It's Abu Dhabi, folks. It's not. It all came down to this, Paul. You had three drivers with a possibility, some better than others, of winning. And if you were thinking Lando looked good on all three practice sessions, so was I. I thought he looked great. I have no idea where Max's quali lap came from. You know they were sandbagging on that bad boy.
That
so
was amazing.
That was an amazing quality lap. But can I be honest? I really don't like this track, Paul. And it's a shame that all these Middle East investment, I get it. Money's money. And, that's kind of got F1 locked up into finishing their seasons, these big high-profile season-ending races. And I get it. And who wouldn't want that, season-ending race on their calendar as a promoter? I get all that. But it's a shame because, if F1 was really into entertainment, they wouldn't pick this track as the final track. They'd want a track that that typically produces really exciting racing, right?
How is Spa at this time?
Yeah, what is Spa like
cold.
now? Is it a little
be-
chilly, maybe? I don't know.
It could be just a wee bit chilly.
It might be, but that'd be the fun. Cold tires, George would be
yeah, the
really
drivers would love
complaining
that.
then, wouldn't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why not mix it up a little bit? But yeah, this track it tries hard to produce.
Yeah.
But the good news is
The best track for the finale has always been Australia.
yeah,
That was the very best.
That was a
You
good
know?
one. And then it was
a great
Brazil
place
for a
to
long
end it.
time, right?
Brazil, yeah.
Yeah, that was always kind of exciting. But what are you going to do? I don't run F1. Maybe I should.
No, they don't even pick up when we call them. Really.
No, I know. Yes, isn't that weird? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was calling Stefano the other day, and he was like, and he hit cancel because it went immediately to voicemail. So.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the season-ending race and cover what we think about the season-ending race. We're going to start, as we always do, right at the very sharp end of the grid.
I'm getting the hang of this, Lando.
He is getting the hang of this, Paul. We're going to talk about Max Bull.
Max Bull.
Yeah, might as well just
Okay.
name the team Max Bull. Why not? Max Bull.
It's a new flavor.
It is a new flavor, Max Bull. It's like twice the caffeine, maybe, or twice the taurine.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Twice the taurine.
Yeah, Paul, just that
Add a
taurine's
lot
amazing.
of cinnamon.
Yeah,
Add a lot of cinnamon.
right, right.
Add a little heat.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got that going. Let's start with Red Bull. We'll start at the very top. Heading into the final or the finale, Red Bull trailed McLaren in the driver's title. And so strategy was really mainly the talking points heading this weekend. What could Red Bull do, strategy-wise? How could they use Yuki, who had qualified top 10? Was that a possibility? Most people, a natural knock-on was really kind of as we saw Lewis did with Nico a few years ago. Will he back Lando and McLaren and Oscar back up into traffic, let everybody have a good bite at him? What will Max do? We all know he's this evil genius, is rumored on socials, and this is all prior to us finding out that Helmut Marko was leaving. But anyway. Verstappen finished first in the race, won the race, a fantastic drive, fantastic qualifying, really. Verstappen made a clean start, stretched his legs out, controlled the race, did the one-stop strategy. His pace was really, great. Red Bull could have considered that second stop for a little gamemanship, but they ended up choosing to secure the dominant win, capped that whole late season charge. And what a turnaround it was, right? As noted, the top three drivers, all three of them had ups this year and downs this year. They had peaks and valleys, right? And it's all about peaking at the right time, which Lando and Max did. And certainly Max, in that, he won 6 of the last 9 Grand Prix. What a turnaround that team did. They all should be very, very proud. And Max said that over the radio. I'm not disappointed. I mean, what we did to turn everything around was amazing. I'm happy
to get a shot.
Yeah. So he was very magnanimous to Lando, and he was fine. It wasn't like he threw a temper tantrum, even though there isn't a fiber in his body that's happy with losing the championship. That's not how he's wired. But he was very magnanimous in congratulating that and congratulating the team and et cetera. But a terrific race from Max.
Yeah, I mean, I know you say dips and valleys. I don't think the dip or valley for Max was Max. It was always the car.
Agreed. Yep.
Right. I think with the other two, they had dips and valleys in their performance.
Agreed.
Perhaps, and choices. I mean, I can't fault Max for the whole season. Really, we did.
No.
And the team rallied around and gave him a car that he could fight with. Absolutely, and he made the most of it. So it was an amazing comeback. Amazing comeback.
Yeah, it really was.
In a championship that's so tight, even through the field, right? So you can make a 2/10 game, but the team did a great job, and Max just made the most of it. And no one's going to forget his charge to give himself a shot at winning the championship, getting into second was astounding.
Yeah,
really.
yeah, it
from where
was.
it was.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it was a great race. I thought he managed everything really well. And, even when pressured by Oscar a little bit, still had things in hand when you kind of felt like maybe that McLaren on hards was a little quicker. But he had enough gap at that point. Didn't really seem to be bothered too much at that point. Interesting, though, the one element, I guess, of this race, Paul, is you and I were texting during the time, and I think a lot of people were thinking that once the McLaren's boxed, Lando boxed again, and the McLaren's boxed, that Max had a 24-second gap, and that surely he would box again, put on softer tires, and see if he couldn't, do a little gamesmanship, back the McLarens up, get Lando in trouble. On one side of that, Paul, I'm thinking, the reality of that probably is he could have, but if he'd have got him bunched up and Leclerc got by Lando, more than likely McLaren would have radioed Oscar, have him fall back a couple positions, and Lando would have been on the podium irrespective, right? And George was clearly not a threat at that point. So you could say on one hand, it probably wouldn't have mattered. McLaren would have swapped him. George wasn't a threat. But wouldn't you just roll the dice anyway, just to even put McLaren in the position of having to radio, order Oscar to drop back a place or two, get Lando up there? Anything can happen in those scenarios. Oscar could say no. I don't think he would have, but you know what I'm saying. At least create some chaos.
No, I was expecting it, honestly, with that gap. You put him on soft tires, he can back those guys up, even if someone squeaks by him somehow while he's trying to back you up. He's got so much more performance in the car with the soft tires and that he could get back by. It's just like, how far do you push the limit? And I think other years, I'm pretty sure he would have been doing this, but we discussed it in before the podcast. It's like, it's how these guys get along. I'm not sure everyone is willing to do everything. And not worry about what anyone thinks, and sacrifice relationships and friendships and everything down the grid, and alienate everyone down the grid.
Nobody wanted to go full multi-21.
No, there was another bullet left in the gun, and they could have backed it up. Could have, obviously we're expecting, could Max have backed him up at the beginning? That became a bit tenuous because Oscar was on hards, so he was on a different split strategy, so that had to keep Max honest and have to keep pushing then. But once that all kind of planned out and they made that other stop, Max did have a free stop while still should have been gaining the lead. And if you really, really, want to push everything, you'd back everybody up. And who knows what would have happened. I mean, I know you say that McLaren would have said, no, Lando, if Charles got by Norris, let's say, Oscar, we need you to fall back to let Norris get P3. But Oscar, what's he thinking? Maybe he could get by Max, and then he would win the race.
Yeah.
And then who knows what's happening behind him with Lando?
Right.
I'm not so sure that's a guarantee that Oscar would have given up that spot.
Right.
And as you said, if you don't try it, you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
The unexpected can absolutely happen. It has happened a lot of times in this season already. So I don't think they used every single bullet in the gun there. And they decided just to kind of let the season roll out, and they're hoping obviously that Charles could catch Lando, but they'll just kind of let it play out as it was, which is, as I said, a bit of a difference. If it was back in the Hamilton Max fighting for championship days, I think it would have played out a little bit different.
Yeah, even Oscar asked Max whether they were waiting on Lando coming to the cool down room. He said, you didn't want to back everybody up, and Max didn't have much to say about that. Even Oscar was thinking, thought you would have, it was kind of interesting.
He was hoping, probably.
Yeah,
he
probably
was.
Was.
For something. He didn't have anything at that point.
Yeah,
right?
he had nothing to lose, right?
No,
yeah, so I found that strange. Brilliant race by Max. I'm not taking anything away from it. It was a brilliant season, brilliant comeback, brilliant race. I just was surprised that Red Bull didn't at least throw everything and the kitchen sink at him, right? A little strange. I mean, they threw Yuki Tsunoda at him.
They sure did. They didn't even give him a direction and said, "Go, you could go."
Leave me alone. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to run him off the road. Whoa. Okay. That's NASCAR, Yuki, not F1. But anyway, Yuki down 14th. His final Red Bull outing. So what can we say from Yuki?
Goodbye, good luck, and good riddance.
Yeah, maybe he and Helmet can spend a little quality time together. He is going to remain as a reserve driver, but in his final outing as Max's teammate, Tsunoda started on the hard tires for Max, tried to delay Lando Norris, tried to run him off track, and after the McLaren driver's early stop, but he forced him wide, picked up a 5-second penalty. That dropped him down, eventually finishing outside of the points. So wasn't really a factor in helping.
That was an interesting incident.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I'm not fully buying into the penalties
all
the penalties not given.
You think Lando should have been hammered, huh?
I think he should have had a penalty. I don't think. I mean, I think Yuki. They gave him a penalty. I mean, it was definitely biased on the championship implications and who was racing against who and which team was driving which
Nobody
car
wanted to go Michael
situation
Massey on this, Paul. Nobody.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't want that. But and so if you look at as they're supposed to look at a cold situation, take all the. We don't know who's winning the championship. We don't know who's driving this car. You just look at the instant, cold, hard thought pattern. You would have to have given him. I mean, the penalty they gave Yuki was a penalty they hadn't really enforced. I can see him getting the penalty, though, because he definitely moved over enough that Lando had to move off the track. But there's no... People have done that all year long, and if you still go off the track and you make that pass, it's still a penalty. And I heard people say, well, he had the momentum. Yeah, it wasn't like he was freewheeling down a hill without brakes. I mean, you can slow
lift
that momentum, but you can lift off the gas. That slows the momentum pretty big in a Formula One car.
It does.
And so I think they kind of let that go. People argue right or wrong, but I think it was an absolute penalty because you do not pass offline whether the person forced you off or not. As I said, we've seen it a lot, right? Max has fought it, they forced me off into the and then he took the lead. Well, that doesn't justify the pass. You have to don't take the bait. You have to back off the gas a little bit and allow the penalty to ensue. And maybe that was Yuki's plan.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe that was Red Bull's plan is to force Norris into a mistake. But it's a really bad place to try and hold somebody up on the straight. It's so obvious. All the eyes are on it.
I agree. Could have done it in the
corners.
In the Mickey Mouse bits around the hotel.
Yeah,
and
in the
stuff.
Mickey Mouse section, just over slow. That's way more powerful than just trying to jink around and serpentine down the straightaway.
Yeah,
so I think it was a misplaced desire or execution there. But as I said, coming down the straight, everyone can see what the hell's going on. But you definitely can't be penalised for going too slow in a corner. There's no ruling on that. So, but there definitely is a ruling for going off the track. So, so I think it was a penalty, but they let it go. You can have your opinion whether that's right or wrong. Champion implications, was it a little skullduggery on Yuki's side? Yeah, absolutely. But does that give you the right to break the rules? Whether you think the rule's right or not. But anyway, I would say it's a penalty.
Okay. I say no.
Yep.
But
no?
Nah.
And why do you say no?
Because I don't want to Michael Massey this damn thing, Paul.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like just because of the implications doesn't mean you can not be right.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like it was marginal. It wasn't like he, went off, cut a chicane, drove through it or anything like that. I think he ran him wide, ran over. He had a left wheel in the grass. The right one's just, that far off the line trying to get around. He's pretty, I agree with you on the momentum thing. I think he was just committed to getting around, knew he had to get around quick, and he was trying to make that move. But I think all's fair in love and war in Yuki, but I think at the end of the day, I don't know. It was pretty tough because once he got by, then how do you remedy that? You say, okay, well, Is it a 5-second? I guess you could have given a 5-second penalty or ceded the position back to Yuki. Which would have, like you said, had a dire impact on the.
It would have had a bit. If I was in the steward's office, I would hate to have to give that penalty. I'm not saying I'm not saying I would have strung him up, and that was an outrageous thing to do. I would have hated to do it, but that's how the rule is written.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So let us know what you guys think. You think it's a penalty? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what Laurent Mecchi said. He thanked Yuki for his team play, called, and said Red Bull could not have done anything more. Really?
It's about the only help he could give Red Bull is being a friggin' jam car.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised in qualifying that they didn't let him actually go for a lap. They basically used him as a
tow.
As a pick for a tow for both of Max's laps. So I was kind of surprised because if he had been able to qualify, maybe he could have done something else. But history probably shows you he's not really going to do much in the race.
Right. Yeah. At this part of the season, with the announcement that he doesn't have a ride, could he be any more utilitarian to the team at that point? I mean, if they asked him to park in the middle of the turn, he probably would have. Just
probably
whatever at this point. But tough race, a tough season, and a tough F1 career for Yuki. So there you go.
Yeah, and they really need, they really needed that second car to be competitive.
Would Liam Lawson have done any worse?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
I mean, they made that switch and they just had to
way too early.
They've done it so many times and they've never really improved matters.
And it's like Jack doing. They made that switch way too early. Way too early.
Yeah, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But
we'll get into that on the season review.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about, should we talk about McLaren? Let's do. I think we should. Jesus. Shouldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice, Ron.
So McLaren, Oscar Piastri, P2, and Lando Norris, P3. McLaren arrived with a points cushion, 12 points. Opted for the split strategy, in my thinking, that caught Red Bull a little off guard. And even Laurent Mecchi's admitted to that. Later after the race. Let's start with Oscar. Interesting here. He started on the hard tires. Yeah, he passed Norris on lap 1, forced Verstappen to push his mediums a little bit through most of the first stint. I believe that was always the plan. He stayed out long on his first stint and then rejoined ahead of his teammate after his pit stop. He was unable to match Red Bull's pace at that point, and he settled for second, ensuring that McLaren had 1-2, had second place, and then the drivers' championship. I feel like they did that. They planned all of that out. I thought it was funny when he came back out and says, "Okay, so what are we going to do with Max?" Yeah, you're going to about a second and a half a lap.
Nothing much.
Yeah, come on, go get him, Oscar. You can do it, buddy.
Yeah, they kept him out too long. They really want.
They did.
You got to give him enough time to make use of the tire to actually make the difference.
Absolutely.
The gap just got so big.
I think all credit to McLaren. They nailed the strategy on this one. The split strategy, Oscar on hards, galvanized the situation, made it very difficult for Red Bull to react or have the flexibility to do so. It gave McLaren the most flexibility in their race strategy. They ended up running him really long. But I think they did that, immediately swapped him, had Oscar trying to push Max hard to get that graining going. I think probably in their mind's eye, they were hoping they could finish 1-2, Oscar winning the race, Lando the championship. I think that's probably how they wanted it. But Max was super fast after that stop. I mean, he was flying. So I don't know that then as the realization is, well, look, we're not going to get the win here. At this point, leave him out long and then bring him back in to in front of Lando, just provide buffer if we need to swap or something like that. And they kind of let Max run that race. But no matter how you measure, I just think it was a great strategy. I think they read the tea leaves on that. Oscar did a great job. Looked good the entire race, didn't put a foot wrong, was quick, pretty much a lot of people talking about papaya rules and all that. I think Oscar pretty much resigned himself before the race started that this is kind of where it is, and barring some craziness or whatever, this is kind of where we are. And I think he drove a good race on an alternate strategy, and it wasn't a strategy. I've seen some people, well, you screwed Oscar, you put him on hard tires. The hard tires were the preferred tire. The hard tires operated incredibly well around this track, so that wasn't a liability for Oscar. I think that plan gave Oscar the most flexibility, but unfortunately for him, Lando, wasn't a million miles away, and Max was leading, and so it just unfolded the way it did. But I think he drove a great race, great strategy.
Yeah, no, I think the strategy worked out good in two ways. One, to kind of neuter Max a little bit, but also to put the race in both drivers' hands and give them. I mean, they basically gave a strategy that gave Oscar a chance.
Yeah, they did.
Right? Well, they said, okay, you'll put you in hards. We'll let Lando let you go and go attack Max, and that's all he can ask for.
Right.
Is a chance to attack for the race win. As you said, he can't affect everything behind him. All he can do is try and win the race, and whatever happens behind him happens. Right. Especially you're not going to do anything to your teammate. So, and with Lando, the team was conservative because they knew he just had to finish third.
Right.
And so I think it played great. It gave both their drivers motivation to just throw it out there. It wasn't like, but after I think once they really pushed Oscar to go long, I think at that point they were like, well, there's only so far we can go with giving Oscar the chance, and now we're just going to use Oscar to keep Lando in play and give him that podium spot.
Yeah.
Without any threat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Totally agree with you. And to that point, kudos. I thought, at the end of the season, either Zach and Andres will have a lot of egg on their face over papaya rules, or they wouldn't, and they really don't. So kudos to Zach and Andrea. I think there were some rocky moments, but I think they ended up managing it to the end. A lot of the reason they probably managed it to the end required a lot on the compliance of both drivers, and they did comply. So kudos to them. Let's talk about Lando. Finished in P3, as you mentioned. That's all he had to do to win the championship or to win the title. He was nursing his medias in the opening lap. Norris, really mirrored Charles Leclerc's two-stop strategy. He was the entire race. That was really his target. It wasn't Max,
right,
and it wasn't Oscar. It was absolutely mirroring and covering a very fast Charles Leclerc in a Ferrari. He recovered from that brief drop in traffic and clinched his third place, which he needed to become the champion. An absolute landmark moment for McLaren. It hasn't happened in Drivers' Championship since 2008. And I think, as Sky said, there's 35 different drivers have won the F1 World Championship. And Paul, slightly over 30% of those 35 drivers are all British drivers. So I don't know if it's in the water. I think it may be like a secret underground factory in Slough where you guys make these drivers. I don't know what it is, but what a great
it is something.
It is. What a great thing. I know it's hard to move on from Lewis Hamilton. Seriously, 7-time champion. He's a magnetic person. I get it. And the British fans embraced him and loved him. And it's hard to move on from that. And I fully understand. But you only had to wait 4 short seasons to get a British champion, bring the trophy back home to the motherland. And Lando did it in his own style. He wasn't punting everybody off the race. He wasn't bad-mouthing. He did it. He's a quirky character, and he did it in his own way. And I think it was great. And Paul, of the top 3, he had to work absolutely the hardest of anyone during this race.
He did.
He came out in traffic, and he had to pass Antonelli, Sainz, Stroll, and Lawson. And I know everybody passed Stroll and Lawson. But anything can happen. And look at the names I'm talking about. Rookie Antonelli, Sainz, he can get his elbows out. He's been known to.
Yeah.
Stroll, you don't know what's going to go on there. And Lawson, that's his middle name, is, punt punt him off. And he got a penalty for erratic driving. So you never know what's going to happen, and you've got to be nervous. All that pressure and then he had to get around Yuki, who was dive-bombing him off the track. So Lando didn't cruise to third and just phone this in, folks. He worked his butt off to get up to third. Had any of those not worked, he probably wouldn't be the champion.
Yeah, he did. And I think his personality kind of helps that charge also. He doesn't make many enemies on pit lane.
Right.
And, buddies with Sainz and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt people like Charles and Sainz, and they're trying to get the maximum for their team. That's their job.
Yep.
But they're not going to needlessly interact with a guy running for his world championship when they know that's not the fight they're in. And I think
two of them are
the
Red
respect
Bulls,
and
though,
the friendships,
right? Two of them are Red Bulls, though, right? Lawson in a Racing Bull and Yuki in a Red Bull, right?
That's true. Yeah. Lawson's a bit. Yeah, you could probably turn him pretty quick to make some aggro out there.
Yep.
But I think he was unsuspecting as he was in every time he was so focused on Stroll. They were waving everyone by.
I know.
But yeah, true. But I think it is a different era in Formula One where there's not so much bitter rivalries and basically hatred between teams and drivers. They do seem to get along. They obviously fight hard when they're out there, but they don't go above and beyond and over the limit in that respect. So it's good. And I think when you're a driver, as I said, like before, when Max, he makes moves on the track in practice, to make people understand what he's going to do when he comes up behind you, and people not necessarily respect it, but they understand what he's going to do, and they maybe race him a little bit different. Well, the same thing works if you respect the other driver and they play nice with you, you'll play nice with them when it comes to these crucial situations. So I think, he had to earn it, absolutely. They don't give it to you, but I think the mutual respect was pretty evident in this race.
Yeah, I think so too. And after the race, man, in the media pen, Lando just went on a long, soliloquy about Oscar and just waxed poetic about what an honor it was to race with him, how he's only been at 3 years, but Lando learned a tremendous amount from Oscar. There's a lot of platitudes that Oscar had to say. I mean, that Lando had to say about Oscar. Incredibly, a lot of praise for Oscar. So, nice. Yeah, it was nice. I mean, you could say, well, then when Oscar get upset, so everybody's, making over him because he didn't win and all that. But, I don't think it's in Lando's nature to blow smoke up anyone's skirt. I think he's
right.
I think he genuinely means it. So a great champion, a worthy champion. I think there's a lot of fans out there that were kind of like anyone but Max, fair enough. Oh, this is so dumb, and that was so boring. And Schumacher won 5 titles in a row. But yeah, I think Lando, absolutely worthy champion. A lot of people we're talking about, well, Oscar and Papaya rules and all that. But, on the other side of it, maybe I'm just being too practical about it. But the reality is, Lando was kind of hot property, and he could have went to other teams, and I'm sure people were after him. And he chose to stay at McLaren. And when he was young and he first was joined as a reserve or whatever it was, there was that interview with him saying, well, my goal is to get McLaren back to winning ways, and hopefully I'll be part of that. He has been all in for McLaren. He really has, and he's never wavered. And not that Oscar hasn't either, but he's going on 9 years of unyielding loyalty to that team. And if I'm Zach, I'm thinking, what, this kid, he deserves it. He was with us when Fernando wasn't. He was with us when Carlos was. He was with us when Danny Rick wasn't. And I don't mean that as a pejorative against those drivers. I'm just saying he hung in there and he fought the good fight, and now he reaps the rewards. And I say good on McLaren. Good on all the men and women that worked their tails off. Yeah. And Lando deserves it.
Yeah, it was close, though. As you say,
the
Papaya rules, I mean, one decision here or there in this whole season. It came down to 2 points, right? Any one decision or not could have switched it around very, very easily.
Yeah, and a lot of people immediately were jumping on, well, see, that's 2 points Max lost by, and if he hadn't banged Wills with George Russell, because of the red mist, and got that penalty, he'd have had it. And it's kind of like, okay, well, that's one instance, but what about Hungary? What about Austria? When
I mean, every driver you can
on.
dissect so many. I mean, we do it in IMSA. Oh, if it wasn't for Laguna Seca, we would have won the championship. But it happened, and we did it, and that's the result you get.
Yeah,
so
it is. It is, and it just brings to mind, Paul, that it is just a reminder that it's not just him banging wheels with George in Spain. It's every single point counts, and it used to be, well, we get into the season and get our sea legs, see how the car, and then mid-season we'll start to put the hammer down, and man, it is all systems go for the first race every session. You have got to be there, and it's every point matters. And so leaving points on the table at Zandvoort, leaving points on the table in Canada for Lando, all of that hurts,
Yeah, and just think of the sprint races. Love them or hate them. That with the championship as close as it was, that was a crucial, turning point for all the drivers. Yeah,
it's a great point. That's a whole points generating element over there. Yeah, that's kind of newish, right? And you got to take those serious now. You do. Yeah, it was interesting. Let's see, Ferrari began the weekend chasing really a distant constructors target, trying to claw their way back up, but they looked kind of out to lunch for most of the practice sessions.
Struggling.
They were really struggling. Yeah, you're right. But then the race kind of something a little different. Their race pace was quite a bit different than what we were seeing in practice. Charles Leclerc finished fourth. Lewis and Hamilton clawing his way all the way back up to eighth from 16th. We'll start with Charles. He jumped George at the start and then really pressured Norris throughout the opening stint. He opted for that aggressive two-stop strategy that McLaren had to cover. That kept everybody on their toes. But, he had to go at him on that second stint, and it just, at that point, kind of ran out of tires and fell back and settled for fourth. But there for a little while, he was making things a little uncomfortable for McLaren.
Yeah, definitely the first 10 laps of every stint on the new tire, he was able to attack Lando, but after those 10 laps, the pace definitely fell off, and obviously he fell like 5-6 seconds adrift by the end of the race in the end. But yeah, quite a turnaround for Ferrari. It looked hopeless for him, but I think Charles' qualifying pace kind of showed you that the car had potential. Yeah, obviously Lewis was out early, really early. Crazily early. Yeah,
Q1.
And in qualifying. And so Charles, I think that kind of gave them some hope. And I think that pace that he showed in qualifying wasn't a single lap pace. It maybe was half a stint pace that the Ferrari was able to really be competitive. But ultimately, over a long race distance and a long stint, it would just kind of fall off in the end.
Yeah. And I think the two-stop worked pretty well for Lewis, in retrospect, watching that unfold. He started down in 16th on softs, ducked in early, got off those softs, then he climbed through the midfield in that two-stop strategy, finishing in 8th. I kind of thought for a moment he was going to really kind of get up there and hassle 7th, possibly 6th, but he seemed to kind of stall out right there. He said that the strategy worked well, lamented the season, of course, but a good recovery drive from Lewis nonetheless.
No, it was actually a really good run and a good strategy from Ferrari to actually give him a chance to do that. As we always say, you have to have a good strategy, but you have to have execution, and Lewis definitely did that. Yeah. So I was actually really impressed by his run.
Yeah, me too.
Considering where he came from, I thought it was really good actually, and it didn't look great at the beginning, but pitted early. But yeah, he did the work and got the points, and he was attacking Ocon. Yeah. But then couldn't get by him for some reason. Obviously, the TV wasn't really focused on that battle, so we couldn't
Yeah.
really tell what was going on there.
Yeah, I thought, either way, Lewis looked very racy out there, like Charles did. And
Yeah.
if that was the case, I didn't really get to see much of it. That means that Ocon did a real yeoman's job holding off Lewis.
Yeah. The only clip I saw is he got really close to Ocon and then got in dirty air and lost the car a little
Yeah.
bit, and maybe that just took the edge off.
Yeah, may have. Mercedes really focused, at this point beating Ferrari in the constructors. But they did, like a lot of teams, kind of seem to kind of struggle getting on top of the tire management throughout the weekend. Kind of curious how that was going to happen going into the race. We'll start off with George. He finished in fifth. A lot of wheel spin off the start, Paul, which wasn't really good. And kind of, it's not very characteristic of George, if I'm honest.
Isn't that the second race in a row he's had problems at the start?
Yeah, I'm wondering if
Yeah.
they're struggling with either the tire compound and the clutch bite points, and I'm not quite sure what's going on there because it's not typically indicative of George. But anyway, he dropped behind Leclerc and Fernando Alonso at the start, so he had a lot to make up. He tried an early undercut, but really just didn't have the pace of the front runners and wasn't a real threat, as I mentioned earlier. Which probably had a role to play in whether Red Bull boxed late or McLaren's feelings about it. I don't think George was ever a threat. I think it was always Leclerc. But it was enough to secure P2 in the Constructors' Championship for Mercedes. Toto was, pretty negative about the race and that kind of thing. And fair enough, it's his team. But look, they finished second in the Constructors, and that's millions and tens of millions of dollars. So, it was a good result for George nonetheless, but I think he had a handful all weekend.
Yeah, it was a ho-hum race for them,
Yeah.
really. I mean, kind of petering out at the end of the season.
They did.
I don't know what the struggles were at the start, but
We stopped development.
he didn't seem to have pace to be able to recover either
Right.
from a bad start. And Antonelli didn't really have a lot to do.
No.
Had a lot to play with to make a big comeback either. But for them to come second in the Constructors, I think was overachieving.
Oh, by far. And largely down to George. Yep.
Yeah, to George and to Yuki. So they should maybe go give Yuki, some big Christmas present, because the Red Bull ultimately was the second best car on the grid. And
I know.
But they didn't do it, and so Mercedes got the second Constructors, and that's as I said, I think that's above what was probably expected.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season for them.
Yeah, it was. Kimi down to 15th, opted to start on the hard tire, struggled with car balance, couldn't recover into the points, spent most of the race in a DRS train towards the back. It's a shame because had he scored a few points, Paul, he'd have beaten Lewis to P6 in the driver's title. So
yeah, that would have been great for him.
That would have been great for him.
He does have a little up and down, but I think the car just wasn't there, and so where he started, he just didn't have an advantage over the other cars, so he just had to kind of sit around the blessed DRS train.
Yeah, I know. He was. Aston Martin team targeted solid points. They needed it, folks, because they were going head-to-head with Haas, right? Very close battle in the Constructors. Fernando Alonso in 6th, Lance in 10th. Starting off with Alonso, made a good start, overtook Russell, and then, I was a little surprised. He put a lot of pressure on Leclerc, too.
He did.
He kept the midfield at bay, claimed 6th, which was good enough to secure 7th in the driver standings for him. Or no, was he top 10? 7th, the Constructors, I guess.
Constructors.
Yeah. So actually, a good race for Fernando, all things considered, finishing up in 6th, good points, secured 7th. Again, that's tens of millions of dollars had they lost a spot to Haas, so a good result for him.
Yeah, no, they've had a crazy season, but yeah, he was definitely on the upside. He'd have liked to have this car at every race this year, at least to be able to fight people, right? He had a good start. He was definitely attacking Leclerc at the beginning. That gradually fizzled out.
Yeah.
But to still get that good result was very important, as you say. Millions of dollars between Constructors, finishes.
Right.
So really important to that team, especially since they'd kind of written off their car for progression a long, long time ago. So I guess they're still engineering pretty good down there to try and get everything they could out of it.
Yeah, I agree. Lance, he ran that long first stunt on hards and then overtook several cars on mediums. Had some good passing in there, getting back up into the point. Penalty for changing direction too many times dropped him down to P11, and then Ollie Behrman got a penalty, and that promoted him back into 10th. So it's a dual points finish for the team, and that kept Haas from stealing P7 in the constructors. So not a horrible race, not a fantastic race, but not a horrible one.
Yeah, I mean, Lance hasn't seen the points much this year. So I
no.
To have a race,
Yeah. Come on.
So,
yeah, everybody else is in a different category, Paul.
Yeah, so for him to get in the points is good for the team.
Yep.
And as I said, he hasn't been a big support for Alonso.
No.
Yeah, or the team for points. So it's a decent way to finish.
Yeah.
Hopefully they come out with this magic car for next year where we'll really get to see something.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Yes, I can hear you, Paul. All right, Haas. They were really targeting P7 constructors. It's a shame.
Yeah.
I like Aston Martin a lot, and the program of Fernando, obviously, and all that. So I'm glad they got P7, but I was really hoping that Haas could pull that off, get the cars, and they needed both cars in the points, and it's a shame. Ocon finished 7th, Paul qualified inside the top 10. Great weekend for Esteban. He's been down a little bit. Ollie's been, really shining like a bright star, and Esteban's, kind of been put out to back pasture lately, and he really fought hard to keep Alonso back. Kept him honest throughout. Also did a great job of holding Hamilton off for P7, and that's anyone will tell you that's not easy. It's his best result since Monaco. And
wow,
yeah, I know. But because Ollie wasn't in the points, it wasn't enough to beat Aston Martin in the standings. But you can't blame Esteban. I think he had a really good race.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, competitive race. I can't believe it's been to Monaco because we've seen the Haas being very competitive, but it's been in another driver's hands. So we're kind of used to him fighting for the top 10. But I guess Esteban's, as you say, he's been kind of in the background there for a while. So good for him to have a good race.
Yeah, not like who was the previous driver? Gutierrez? No, who was?
What?
Who was the previous driver? You and I. We're in Austin, and he was just standing there by himself at the.
Oh yeah, it was him.
Was it Gutierrez?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
he hasn't
another Esteban.
Yeah, he wasn't in the background like that, Esteban. Yeah, but
no.
Anyway,
looming, uncomfortably so,
lurking, like making passersby a little nervous. Like the clown in the gutter, right?
Yes,
so Ollie Behrman 12th. Behrman hovered on the fringe of the points, but received 5-second penalty for moving too many times in his battle with Stroll. The penalty dropped him out of the top 10, and it's a shame because they were close to beating Aston Martin for P7. It's unfortunate that they didn't get there. So anyway, but I think Ollie was driving well. It's probably on him weaving too much, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this weaving penalty, because that's kind of just kind of came up at the last race, and only I think because the Yuki penalty kind of started it, and they're like, well, if we call it on Yuki,
you have to call it on
everybody.
Call it
on other people, then we're going to be caught with our pants down. So
Are you saying
everyone gets a penalty? It's kind of like Oprah, You get a car, you get a penalty, you get a penalty, you get a penalty.
Right. Are you suggesting that the stewards obfuscated their error by throwing out multiple weaving penalties?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I love it, Paul. Right for the jugular. I like it. You're like a Jack Russell Terrier over there.
Call it cold, man.
That's right.
Cold.
Sauber. Sad day. The last race for Sauber.
Yeah.
I know
Peter Sauber was there.
He was, and I know you and I rate Peter Sauber very highly.
Absolutely.
Peter was
just had an astounding career in sports cars and Formula.
Yes, what a legend Peter is. I was so glad to see him there. That was great. Last race before coming Audi. And so they wanted a strong farewell. They got one, I think. Nico Hülkenberg in P9 started 18th on soft. Was it 18th or 19th? Back there somewhere. I think Lewis was 18th. Don't get me. I'm not a numbers guy, man.
Yeah, details.
Details. Who needs them? I just want to talk about Nico. So anyway, pitted early, carved through the field, gained positions after Stroll's penalty, finished 9th, scoring valuable points as his farewell drive for Sauber and his hello drive to Audi, right? So, Peter's there. Great to see Sauber getting the points. The car's not been the great car, and it was a great way to say goodbye to Sauber, I think, in the end. And that's exactly what Hülkenberg said. Bortoletto finished in 11th. But I think, 9th place, good result, and kind of caps a nice podium this year for Nico. Maybe wasn't a banner year for him, but I think all in all, it was a good race for him.
Yeah, I think as far as the year is concerned, they've at least put cars out that have given both drivers a chance to shine at some point.
Yeah, right.
And this was a good run for him. He had really a similar race to Hamilton.
He did,
coming from the back, similar strategy.
Yep.
So I mean, it was a heck of a drive, and getting the points is great for that team. Doesn't really affect where they are in the standings.
No, but it's a good point, Paul, because he finished. He had same strategy as Hamilton. Started the back like Hamilton, finished right behind him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so very, very powerful, very good. We know that guy can do the job.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Gabby ran in the top 10 early on, struggled with bouncing after his pit stop, faded to 11th. He admitted they didn't maximize the car and was a little disappointed that he missed out on the points. But again, it's a P11 for, seriously, think about it, P11 for Sauber, really?
Yeah. Before we were like, which one of them is going to finish
Alpine
last,
or Sauber?
So.
Which one's going to be last, right? Yeah. So, good race for Sauber and a great way to say goodbye to the name in Formula 1. Sad. Very sad. We got Williams 5th in the championship. They had that locked up, heading in there, trying to do the best they can for the race, coming off a couple of good results for Carlos Sainz, really kind of hitting his stride here late in the season. He finished 13th. Had that one-stop strategy, left him stuck in the DRS train, though, Paul. Could do little more than bring the car home in 13. Just pace wasn't quite there. Here he had great results in the last race, and I'm sure he was hoping to nip into the points for him, but not a bad race for him, all things considered.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, it's not great.
I mean, it considering where
you're
they've
behind
been
the Saubers
for the past few races. I mean, it wasn't great for Williams at all, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be nice.
You are. It was a great season for him, but it wasn't a great race.
Right.
I'm surprised. I would have thought this track would have suited them better, but it just didn't. And they just kind of fizzled out there, which is not something to remember the season by, hopefully. But they've got lots of other high points that they can take with them.
Right. Alex, it took a little incoming for me saying that the shines kind of rubbed off on Alex the last handful of races, and everybody, they got all upset. But I'm serious.
Sticking with that.
I'm sticking with it. He started near the back on softs, opted for the two-stop strategy, had a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane. Not necessarily a penalty you'd think Alex would do. Said it was a tricky race, and he was stuck without a tire advantage. And I don't know. Carlos is coming on song while Alex is really struggling of late.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they both struggled in this race, but he definitely didn't make any inroads onto Carlos's pace.
Yeah, he didn't. It's unfortunate. I think there's a simple solution to that. Just do better, Alex. Easy to say.
Yeah, just drive faster.
Drive faster. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. You just got to try harder. I think that's all it takes.
Less brake, more throttle.
Yeah, just more effort.
Yeah. There you go.
That's all everyone needs.
That's it. Racing Bulls entered race defending 6th in the constructors. Isaac Hadjar, P17, started inside the points, and I was a little curious why he fell back after his pit stop. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Really lacked the pace to recover. Nonetheless, it was a great journey for him to get back up to 17, secure P6 overall for the team. It's going to be Max's teammate next year. We'll talk about that in another podcast. But I think I know with Lawson he had the penalty and all that, but I'm just not quite sure what happened to Isaac. I don't know if he had a lot of graining or what was going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. It fell off a cliff.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I mean, we used to this team and drivers to be right there fighting for the points every weekend, and they just initially, yes, looked like it, but then just disappeared down the timesheets. And yeah, I've got no explanation for it.
Yeah,
really.
they really did. I'm not quite. I was gonna, while you were waxing poetic there, Paul, I was gonna try to look up why they.
What, if there was any explanation for them? Yeah.
Well, whether there is or not.
I mean, but Lawson was fighting with Stroll.
Yeah.
And obviously, Stroll got in the points, but that didn't work out for him.
Well,
with
yeah.
the penalty.
So that's what I was a little Visa Cash App. Here we go, Paul. I'm doing this in real time. Let's see. Finish.
This is where the magic happens, people.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Tough.
Yeah, seeing it.
Tough on Sunday. We haven't had enough pace the whole weekend to fight for our usual positions. And yesterday it was a surprise for me to put the car in P9. We started in the points, but we knew it would have been difficult for us to maintain that place. Looking at the positives and reflecting, I don't care about your first season, Isaac. I really don't. There you go. That's what.
Whoa.
Well, no, I mean I do, but I'll get into that season review. That's what I meant, folks. I'll review his glorious
first season
in a season review. I don't want to do it in this case.
So I guess the qualifying was flat.
That was
the
the
pace
fluke.
of the car, and the car didn't have any.
Yeah. So the qualifying was the fluke. The race was the reality.
Yeah.
So there's your answer. See, I told you. Liam
your
Lawson, did
answer,
you see
people.
the erratic driving? I didn't. Did you?
Todd
see?
does really care. He does.
I do. I do care, Isaac.
Yeah.
Itzhak! I do care, Isaac. I do. Did you see Liam's erratic driving? I missed it.
I did not see it.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Liam. I'd like to be able to.
I think they started making erratic driving.
Oh, he's moving too many times and passing.
He's in the corner.
Yeah.
He's going left and right and left and right.
Right.
He's in the chicane, people. Give him a penalty.
Give him a penalty.
We need to.
He's moving left
We need
and
to
right.
give 60% of the crowd, the drivers, a penalty to make Yuki look like he wasn't pinned out on purpose.
I agree.
Yeah.
But so I didn't see it. He noted that he was noted for erratic driving, got the penalty, that dropped him to the back, finished behind his teammate. Though our friend Alan Permain, was saying the team worked really hard. But if you think about it, consolidated sixth in the championship, that's the only second time that team's finished that high.
Yeah.
So great result for them.
Very, very impressive year for them.
Yeah.
Just not an impressive week.
Not impressive weekend for sure. And then we get down to not impressive. You really talk about not impressive. It's Alpine. Both cars started at the back, lacked the pace to climb into the points. At this point, boy, has the track not friendly.
Not friendly. Not friendly.
I'm just telling you, not friendly at all. Pierre Gasly, 19th,
Yes.
had two stopped. Beat his teammate despite serving it's embarrassing, a 5-second track limit penalty, and still beat his teammate. Summed up the race. It really is not a great race to end the season, end quote. But there you go. I agree with Pierre. That was not good.
No.
Colin
Well,
Pinto in
luckily
20th. So
They're ditching the GP2 engine
GP2.
for next year. So hopefully they can blossom out of this. I mean, Gasly's done some amazing things that he shouldn't have been doing in a car that
For sure.
didn't really want to be anywhere but the back row. So
Yeah, for sure.
He's definitely extracted something out of him that they did have some highlights in the season, but this kind of pretty much summed up their season, right? Trundling at the back, not competitive, not really doing anything special. So
I agree.
They've definitely got a lot of wishes on the Christmas tree for next
Not good enough, damn it! Not good enough!
It's just not good enough, Paul. It's just not.
Nope.
All right, let's give away some awards, shall we? We always do that. In
Okay.
Race for Press. First one's really one we kind of like to talk about is Move of the Race. And we like Move of the Race.
Seriously, Todd?
Yes, seriously. Move of the race. I think we had the same thing here, Paul.
We did. We did.
We had the McLaren's split strategy, did we not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. It came out perfectly for the strategy in the race and for the drivers. So I think it was as best a call as you can make.
Yeah, totally agree.
Into this race.
Yeah, they did a great job, the team on that one, for sure. The next award we really like, it's Donkey of the Race.
We'll do it live.
Yes, we will.
It's a shit box.
It is. All right, Paul. We have the same here.
We're agreed on this one.
Yes, we were.
We do.
Tell them about it, Paul.
The surprise, it's the Red Bull team.
And why did we pick
the team that won the race?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did we pick them,
But not.
Paul?
We picked them because they didn't use every trick in the book to try and win that championship. Yeah. They pulled back just a little bit from that 100%. And I think, whether that's, if you look at the sport and you say, well, it's very sporting of them to do that, to not try every little trick and dirty trick perhaps in the book. But if you're trying to win a championship for your driver, I think if you're not throwing everything at it, then you should have a little slight regret. It was a very impressive comeback in the season.
For sure.
So why give up now?
Yeah. Throw the kitchen sink at them. Go.
Yeah. It was win or lose, right? It was
right.
Win the championship or you don't win the championship. If you finished fourth or whatever.
Right.
But there was more tricks out there that they knew, but they chose not to use.
Yeah, I agree. Then finally, drive of the race. Oh, yeah.
You like my bass? You like it?
Yes.
It's an Louis.
Yes, we do. Drive of the race, Paul.
Yes.
Who'd you get?
I gave it to Max. I mean,
good shot.
What a weekend.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Qualifying. What a race. Did everything he could do.
Right. Right.
Unbelievable.
It was great.
You're getting the hang of this, Lando.
I gave it to Lando.
Yeah.
I think he had a fantastic weekend. I said, he just coasted to third. He worked his tail off.
There was no coasting there.
There's no coasting, my friend.
No,
he worked his tail off, get past 4 cars that could have easily gone bad, and Yuki Tsunoda that could have went really bad, and managed to get all the way back up there to make that strategy work. And he deserves it. He had a hell of a year, and super happy for Lando. Really a great, deserving champion. Super happy for all the men and women at McLaren. It's great. We do have some mailbag.
You've got mail.
Let's do some mailbag. Yeah, Mr. Jury sent us a question. 2 questions. It's a twofer, Paul. Are you ready for this? Number 1.
Yes.
You're on the pit wall at Ferrari. Leclerc's 22-plus seconds ahead of Russell. Would you have pitted him for softs in case there was a late safety car? I thought it was an obvious call, but alas. What say you, Paul?
I mean, you could, but I feel like if there was a safety car, wouldn't everyone come in at that moment?
More than likely.
I mean, it's worth a roll that everyone's going to. But if you've got the new tire on, then everyone knows you're a threat, and they'd automatically take that pit stop too.
They would, yeah, more than
neutralize the change.
Yeah.
But yeah, why not do it? I guess.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not?
Roll the dice, right?
Yeah.
And then he said, second question, or ponderance anyhow. He said, if it weren't for papaya rules in Hungary, where they forced Piastri to give up a 10-second lead on Norris to swamp cars, Max would be world champion again. Yes, he would. And if Max wouldn't have banged wheels with George Russell, he would have. Oh, yeah. That's true.
So many.
There's so many
pick
permutations.
Any race, and there's something you could have done. Chose to do something different that changed everything at the end.
Right.
So
had Max done better in one of those sprint races, Had Oscar not put it in the wall at Baku. Right. So there's all these different permutations, and it just goes to show you, as Mr. Jury is pointing out, and he's doing so with aplomb, I might add. He's saying that every point counts, and he's right.
He sure
does.
He's
absolutely right. All right.
Always does.
Yes. All right. Well, that does it for this podcast. It also does it for this season, Paul. That is the final race. We have, 89, 90 days until the 2026 season, and I'm so excited because next year's cars are going to solve all of our problems, and no more DRS, and we're going to have all these little extended zones to use whatever they're calling it, MOM. They're calling it instead of push to pass.
What?
Momentary something manual.
I'm very apprehensive about these new rules. I'm sure we will talk about it, but yeah, I'm
manual
not convinced at all.
Osteoporosis. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm very.
And I don't trust that DRS is gone forever.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because they threw that at me before, and it.
I hope I am 100% wrong about next year's cars, but boy, it seems a little sketch to me. But we'll see.
Yep.
We will see. Well, Paul, it's not like you're done until March. We've got lots of things to have fun with in the off season. That's the great news. Everybody else rolls up the sidewalks. We don't. Where's Drive to Survive? Well, they're in the studio editing, but we don't stop. We keep talking about Formula One and whatever else we want to talk about. We've got to do a season review,
and
Paul.
other stuff.
Yeah, we got to do that. We got to do something fun around the holidays, either that or New Year's, whatever. Got to think of something fun to do.
Bring Grace in. I like the three people podcast. It's always fun.
Everybody always loves when the three of us get on and we talk crap, and so we'll do that over the. We promise we'll entertain you. You still have to drive to work or listen to your workout or wherever you listen to us at. We promise we'll keep the content coming. It's not like you got to go back and listen to old episodes. I mean, you can, but anyway, we keep going, and we will be back next. I wouldn't either. Yeah, but anyway, we'll go find Grace. We'll be back. We'll get all of Grace's gloating about McLaren winning the championship, Alonso 08. And I'm happy to tell you that Paul didn't gloat that he beat Grace and I in our fantasy GP.
That is
don't
correct.
mind telling you, I sunk like a stone. I had a geriatric moment, forgot to pick a race weekend. Gone. I was out.
And I had a banner weekend.
You did.
I called everything.
You called everything
correctly
last week. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That was awesome. So, but I've already re-upped with my friends over at Fantasy GP, and be ready for next season, man. I'm coming, Paul. I'm gonna take. I'm coming right.
Still trying to figure out the two people that were first and second in our championship won the world championship.
Yeah.
And are they? Do they just enter every championship?
Probably.
Still trying to figure that one out.
Probably.
Are
they listeners of the podcast? I don't know.
Are they listeners or not?
I don't know.
I would like to know.
I would love to know. If you won our league championship, you also happen to be the one that won the whole global one. Let us know. Reach out to us. Let us know.
Please do.
If you listen or not, because then we're going to really big you up if you're a listener.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, until we come back next week and talk to Grace, and I think there'll be very limited MotoGP talk, but a lot of McLaren.
Orange.
Yes, a lot of McLaren to talk about. Until that time, this is Todd, a.k.a. Negative Camber, saying so long.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.